Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a well known and respected food entrepreneur from Kolkata, India, Mr. Indrajit Lahiri. Indrajit, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Avinash, and thanks for having me on the Brand Call You podcast.
Thank you. Um, Indrajit is the founder of Pickle Solutions Private Limited, an IT firm specializing in hardware and rollout solutions. He's widely known as Foodka. He's a food documentarian. He has 8 years of documenting India's culinary traditions or identities. So, Indrajit, you've moved across hospitality, economics, corporate leadership, IT, entrepreneurship, and finally food documentation. Looking back, what inner thread connected these seemingly different phases of your life?
Ashutosh, what I've understood is I want to document a slice of my life. So, if I give you a basic brief, I have worked with the corporates as a salesperson. I used to manage B2B sales for a global OEM. Then I left that company, started my own company called Pickle Solutions, and then this Foodka thing started.
Mhm,
It's been 7, 8 odd years, and the IT company is still running. So what we have understood is people love to hear stories that might be in sales, might be in food, might be in whatsoever, might
mhm,
be from the travel perspective. So what I've realized is I see there's a folklore that once anybody is born, God whispers in their ear that boss, you are supposed to do this thing.
mhm,
My job was to document stories, document a slice of time. Now
mhm,
this documentation, I have done it through food and with the processes that I have learned while working for this IT company.
mhm,
So today, Foodka as a food channel is more process oriented. Here, Indrajit Lahiri or myself, I am a minuscule part.
mhm.
It's not that I'm the heart and soul. Food is the hero.
Right.
And through the eyes of food, we are documenting a slice of time. So, from food entrepreneurship like a B2B cloud kitchen to the online entity called Foodka to the IT company, all I'm doing is I'm creating and documenting stories.
Very interesting. Your formal training in hospitality and economics is unusual for a content creator. How did these disciplines shape the way you observe food beyond taste and presentation?
So whenever I go to any joint or go to any place to document food, what I do is once I talk to a cook or chef, due to my hospitality training, I can talk to them in their language.
Mhm,
So somebody novice talking to a cook might ask them, why are you cutting this onion? Wherein I can actually ask them, why are you slicing this onion and chopping this
mhm,
onion? How
mhm,
does it make sense if it's not chopped, if it's sliced? What difference does it make? And while I'm asking these questions, they open up a lot.
mhm,
I can go to the nitty gritties. They take me as their insider.
mhm,
And that makes a lot of difference. And regarding the economics, while I have been trained in my graduation for economics, I understand how this financial cycle goes on. So once I'm talking to an entrepreneur or a business entity on on the business running the numbers, they help me in understanding that clearly. That's
mhm,
beyond the cooking or the service thing. So they basically complement each other.
mhm. And you were mentioning that Foodka is story first rather than food first. You just said a few minutes back, and that food is the main subject rather than even Indrajit Lahiri. What does that distinction between story first rather than food first mean in practical terms when you plan an episode?
In practical terms, say what does a food blogger do? Let's come to the basics. We go somewhere, taste some food, and call it as good, bad, ugly. How does it taste? What we do is we trace the origin of the food. Where
Hmm,
did it came from? Where is it going? How is it evolving over a period of time?
hmm,
So these are the stories. These are the back end stories beyond the food, and we always tend to do that
hmm,
uh, rather than I should say a listing of 5 places for the best biryani or
hmm,
5 places for the best chole bhature. I try to take one item, one place, and then find out stories about that.
hmm,
That is why we have been able to crack through the religious trail like a Kalighat temple. That is why I have been able to do a series on Murshidabad Nawabs. What did they have?
Hmm.
These sort of things. So they are stories first, rather than
Hmm.
a listing of places, good places maybe, I'm sure.
Yeah,
We we try to tend to find out the stories.
very interesting. And through your journeys, what has food taught you about identity that books or classrooms never could?
Food is the greatest leveler.
Hmm.
Whenever either I'm going to a premium property or I'm
Hmm.
sitting at a roadside dhaba, maybe
Hmm.
on a chaipai talking to these truck drivers, they have been a super great leveler.
Hmm.
Anybody and everybody connect on food, connect
Yeah.
on a good food.
Yeah.
Whether we like the food, whether we dislike the food, that might happen.
Hmm.
But once I am breaking my bread, as they call it in English, as the British, once I'm breaking my bread with somebody or sharing a cup of tea or a kulhar of tea, it's a leveler.
Hmm.
We come to the same level, enjoying the same thing,
Yeah.
and that makes people
Hmm.
open up to questions, open up to suggestions. They teach me a lot on what's going on in
Hmm.
their life. It's a human story after everything. Nobody's interested on how a dal makhani is tasting. They are mostly interested on the person who is cooking the dal makhani or serving
Hmm.
the dal makhani, not even even eating the dal makhani.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Very interesting.
That's why it's the story first.
Very, very interesting. Many of your stories connect food with migration, geography, and livelihood. And you just mentioned Murshidabad Nawabs. Why is this context essential to understanding Indian cuisine? And give me a story if you can.
Indian cuisine, I would like to believe. So there is nothing called as the Indian cuisine, is
Yeah,
the first thing.
absolutely.
It's like every 50 kilometer or every 100 kilometer, recipe of one particular dish changes.
Correct.
See, I'm a Bengali and we have a very separate dish called machel jhol. It's
Hmm.
a fish curry.
Hmm.
Now, within 10 kilometers radius of my home, the machel jhol has got some 20 odd recipes.
Hmm.
And every recipe is authentic as per them, as per their
Yeah.
family, their heirloom recipes. So these recipes they change. Now I'll tell you a short story. There is a dish called alu pusto.
Hmm.
It's potato cooked with poppy seeds. It's a very very famous dish in Bengal. What alu pusto we taste in Calcutta, I say in Calcutta,
Hmm.
is very different from what alu posto I taste in a place called Birbhum.
Hmm.
Now in Birbhum and Bankura, posto is a staple food, though it's very costly, but posto is a staple food. And they use posto in what should I say, almost anything. While cooking fish, while potato. Jokingly, we say that they use some posto in the dal as well. That's a bad joke, but
Hmm.
that's how it is. So migration means maybe they have a large poppy seed cultivation in that zone. I'm not very sure, but
Yeah.
probably they have. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to consume so much of that costly ingredient. For example, in Bengal, we live on fish because we, as you say, we have a lot of rivers. It's a
Hmm.
Nodimatrik dish. Like we have numerous rivers flowing across the Bengal.
Correct.
So if there is a river, there has bound to be a fish. And that's how we have tried living on fish rather than very unlike to Punjab, where people are used to take maybe 1 liter milk a day. They're used to consume. Their body is evolved in such a way. And that's where this differentiation lies. That's where
Hmm.
this migration thing takes
I
place.
understand. I understand.
So
What's
Murshidabad, the biryani was transformed into something where rice and fish was cooked
hmm.
rather than the meat.
I see.
Because it's a river centric state.
Correct.
This is where it takes place.
Very well said. Have you encountered any food traditions that are quietly disappearing? And if yes, how does that impact you and what do you do about that?
With the in the post COVID era, with
Hmm.
the evolution of Gen Z consumers, food, the classic food is disappearing. And
Hmm.
rather I won't say it's disappearing, it's coming back in a new avatar.
Hmm.
So in Bengal, there is a famous dish called Dhakai Porota.
Hmm.
Dhakai Porota is kind of a lacha paratha. It's a flaky paratha where the flakes or the layers come up. It's this much thick,
Hmm.
deep fried, and that's almost. Nawabi dish from the Midnapur zone.
Hmm.
But this Dhakai paratha, as it's clumsy, difficult to have with spoons and forks, you need to crush it with your bare hands, have it. The dal gets in your hand. It's
Hmm.
not so Instagram friendly
Hmm.
and difficult to cook. That's how it's probably disappearing from the day to day everybody lives.
Hmm.
I will say maybe there is a thing in North India called Malayo.
Hmm.
Malayo is called Malayo in Varanasi or Daulat ke Chaat in some place, I think in Delhi and then
Yeah.
Nimish in Lucknow.
Hmm.
That thing is slowly disappearing. It's not standing a chance against a gelato or a
Yeah.
ice cream is a commercial
Hmm.
thing. That's
Hmm.
not standing a chance against gelato.
Correct.
Maybe it's not Instagram friendly. Maybe it's not evolved over the period of time. That's how it's disappearing.
Very interesting. So tell me, my next question is, how do you balance honesty with sensitivity when reviewing restaurants or food businesses, especially when they're small family run places?
So that's the thing, Ashutosh. I have never tried to review a restaurant. I
Okay.
understand. Oh, okay, so when I started my blogging, that's a WordPress site, I used to
Hmm.
think of myself as a god.
Hmm.
Wherever I go, things need to be good, things need to be at their best possible way. Then somebody taught me that there can be a human error. There can be one bad day. And nothing, unless and until it's a disaster or burnt or extreme salted, it's a bad food.
Hmm.
For example, I love black pepper.
Hmm.
Any dish which has an overdose of black pepper, I love it. But somebody who hates black pepper, that same dish is a bad food for them.
Hmm.
So this good food or bad food is extremely subjective.
Hmm.
What I've learned to do is I tell them that I don't like it. I would have liked it that way, that
Hmm.
specific way.
Hmm.
That's where it made a difference. Secondly, say if I go to a place where there are five dishes are presented and I need to review them.
Hmm.
I have rarely seen either all five dishes are good or all five dishes are bad.
Hmm.
Maybe two dishes are good, three dishes are average. That's again as per to my
Hmm.
taste.
Hmm.
So what I do is I talk on the two or three good dishes which I like.
Hmm.
Skip the rest. They come on camera, but I don't discuss them because it's a business. And since I have a certain number of viewership or audience, I shouldn't play God. I
Hmm.
shouldn't destroy their business.
Yeah.
That's what I personally feel because I run a small business. I know the
Hmm.
nuances, the
Yeah.
challenges, whatever they have to
Absolutely.
face daily. That's
Absolutely.
what I do.
Absolutely. The other interesting perspective I want to get from you is that in with today's technology, algorithms reward speed and trends, while Foodka rewards patience and context. How do you survive and grow in such a contradictory ecosystem?
I prefer to run the marathon rather than a sprint race. What
Okay.
I have over a period of time realized
Yeah.
that Instagram is a sprint
Yeah.
and YouTube is a marathon. YouTube is more of an archival thing. I
Hmm.
can go back and search what I
Correct.
did some say, 3 years back. But
Hmm.
on Instagram or even Facebook, on my feed, it's almost difficult to track
Hmm.
whatever I did.
Yeah.
There is no searchability. So, as per me, I come from that's I think Gen X, if I am not very wrong. We have learned the art of patience. We
Hmm.
have learned to survive, to adapt.
Hmm.
I'm more of a YouTube generation than Instagram.
Hmm.
The time I take to build up a story, the Instagram reel is done. That's 1 2 minutes is gone. So
Yeah.
honestly, I prefer to run the marathon
Okay.
and wait.
Yeah. Well said. Foodka Consulting, Indrajit works with restaurants and brands on narrative pricing and relevance. What is the most common strategic mistake you have seen food businesses making? Because it's often said the life of a food restaurant or a food business is very short.
I have seen the average lifespan to be 2 years.
Correct.
Somebody surviving 2 years has made it. They
Hmm.
have survived. So I always ask this one question to the restaurateur or the hotelier that why are you opening this thing?
Hmm.
Why have you started this thing? This why is very important.
Hmm.
Where and how for that you can have the consultants, you can have
Hmm.
your team who will guide you what to do, what not to do, what how to. But this why thing has to be there. The reason cannot be that I cook a very good food.
Hmm.
The reason cannot be that I love food. Everybody loves a good food.
Yeah.
That cannot be the reason. That why should be very clear. If anybody is clear on that single factor
Hmm.
and can make me understand, like I am a say a 6 7 year old kid, if they can make me understand that why,
Hmm.
they are good. Otherwise, that's a basic problem. For
Very
telling them how to do it, we are there.
right.
Consultants or their team members are there.
Right. Right. You're also the author of multiple books on food and culture. How does writing differ from video storytelling to shape your own thinking?
Firstly, writing doesn't have a word limit. I
Hmm.
can write 5,000 words on
Yeah.
one paragraph.
Hmm.
Say if I'm writing on the say Chinese, on Indo-Chinese or Calcutta Chinese, I can write 5,000, 10,000 words.
Hmm.
That liberty I have on my WordPress blog.
Yeah.
But on YouTube, that tentative time limit is 15, 20 minutes. That's the sweet spot. We have our average viewing time much above the regular ones. We have an average viewing time of some 6 7 minutes at a stretch, which is quite high
Hmm.
in today's Instagram zone. But again, there's a time limit per se.
Hmm.
So recently we did a shoot for the promotion of a Bollywood movie,
Hmm.
and it took the stars out to a place called a Pice Hotel. It's a very modest Bengali meal hotel. That conversation we
Hmm.
shot for some 50 55 minutes, but the episode had to be trimmed down to 12 minutes. But if it would have been a blog post on
Hmm.
writing
Yeah.
or a book, that would have been some 8,000 words maybe.
Correct.
So that's the
Correct.
challenge, that's the difference. Book is more for a leisurely reading.
Yeah.
I can go 50%, come back for the rest. I
Yeah.
can do it multiple times.
Hmm.
But video, that's definitely a challenge for me.
Absolutely. With the launch of Foodka Academy, what critical knowledge gaps are you trying to address for home chefs and cafe founders?
For Foodka Academy, we started working with the home chefs and first time founders.
Hmm.
Again, I asked them why and a couple of checklists.
Hmm.
Now, checklists they come as a bundle educational kit with the basic knowledge what they would be needing at a very pocket friendly pricing.
Hmm.
Now, somebody who has the patience to go through that entire kit, spend some money, buy it, and go through that kit, they would be able to answer their basic questions.
Hmm.
That why will be slightly clearer to them. We cannot answer what's the why for them, but we can ask relevant questions. We can check their uh, uh, agility to be an entrepreneur. The food business is a very difficult business.
Hmm.
It's not as rosy or as flowery as it sounds like.
Right.
So what we do is we can judge their agility, their competitiveness for that business.
Hmm.
That's level one. Level two, it comes with the consulting. Level three comes with a deeper knowledge.
Hmm.
So there are multiple levels for it.
I understand.
So that gap is understanding the basic questions and
Hmm.
why.
Very interesting. Wonderful. I have time for two more questions for you. How do you see Indian food story evolving over the next few years, especially as the regional voices gain a lot of visibility?
Indian food is probably the comes within the top three most varied food culinary countries ever in the
Hmm.
world. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
There are a lot of countries which I'm not even aware of. There are a lot of countries I don't know much about. But India will definitely be a close contender.
Hmm.
So with the regional voices coming, we have multiple options.
Hmm.
Until few years back, nobody knew how a Naga food would taste.
Hmm.
Until a few years back, by biryani, we understood three, four varieties.
Yeah.
Calcutta, Lucknow, Hyderabad, that's it, maybe.
Hmm.
Now we have some 30, 40 odd varieties, which
Correct.
taste very different.
Hmm.
So India being a melting pot of multiple cultures,
Yeah.
this food thing, as we said earlier, is a leveler. So multiple cultures are being put in one large
Hmm.
cultural thing, and it's cooked together to give that
Hmm.
aroma. That's known as India.
Amazing.
Going forward in the next few years, I would love to see Indian food evolving with the global standard. Honestly, in India, we are bad at marketing things. We
Hmm.
are bad at documenting stories.
Hmm.
That's where I would love the content creators to take a better share.
Hmm. Interesting. And my last question for you, you were telling me a little bit about, the dessert from India, which is beginning to uh, disappear because of so many other,
Yes.
challenges from ice creams and whatever else. But is there a cuisine, region, or food story you feel is still deeply underrepresented and deserves urgent attention?
The Northeast food, even
Northeast.
the Bengali food. I
Okay.
will start with Bengal, move towards Northeast. So, apart from French cuisine, Bengali cuisine globally is probably, I might be wrong, the only cuisine which goes on a course to course basis.
Hmm.
If I talk of French cuisine, there's a Udo, there's a entree, there's a potage, so there
Yeah.
are multiple
Hmm.
courses. From A, we move to B to C to D.
Hmm.
In the Bengali cuisine, we start with better, then go for something, then go for something.
Hmm.
We don't come back. If
Yeah.
we have even 10 items, we don't
Hmm.
go back from C to B. We go from B to C.
Hmm.
So Bengali cuisine is quite underrated on their course-wise structure.
Hmm.
And why it's done so is beyond my knowledge. Maybe content creators, as content creators, that's our duty.
Hmm.
Secondly, the northeastern cuisine, maybe the Naga or Arunachal, the multiple tribes, they don't use any spices as the rest of India does.
Hmm.
They have everything organic, some barks from somewhere, some
Yeah.
flowers, some
Yeah.
something. So I have been to Northeast due to my IT work, and I love that place, honestly.
Hmm.
So this is something which fascinated me.
Very interesting. Very interesting. And on that note, Indrajit, I just want to say what a fascinating conversation this has been. Food is something which, as you said a few minutes back, is so dear to every single person. Everyone loves to have a meal and everyone loves to experiment. And now's younger generations would love to experiment much more with their food. Thank you for speaking to me about all your incredible knowledge about food. Thank you for what you're doing and all the very best to you.
Thank you, Ashutosh. Thanks for having me on the brand called you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the brand called You.